Good morning, good afternoon, whether you are in Europe or in North America. It's great to have you with us today. It's Pio Marolla here from ThinkWinkers, speaking from you from the wonderful city of Prague in the Czech Republic. It's an extremely warm day today. Finally, summer is here. It's over 30 degrees Celsius. And I want to know, first of all, where are you connecting from? Where are you from? Let us see in the comment, where are you from? The topic of today, of course, is centered around AI. And every day you go on LinkedIn, you hear and you see talks about AI. I asked ChatGPT about this. I asked that. AI is going to do incredible things for us. We have a lot of promises. Some of them, I would say, are a bit centered around hype. And today, what we are going to do is we're going to focus on facts. We're going to be extremely practical, and we have amazing guests in order to do that. As a matter of fact, Jürgen Müller and Al Bismayer were with us already at the Data Management Marathon, where their presentation was AI is not a silver bullet. Therefore, their approach, of course, is a little bit different from what you're used to. There are many conversations about AI, and we can immediately see that there are many fanboys, there are many, deniers of AI, but this time we're really going to speak about what can you actually do with AI. Does data management play a role in all of it? And you can guess the answer to that. First of all, I would like to welcome today as well Marina from Madrid. We have Todd from Kansas City. We have Pablo from Paris. We have India, Philadelphia, Aloha, IY. And it's really fantastic to see. This is just to prove that there is an enormous interest around AI. And that's why we're doing this conversation. We're having this conversation today. And of course, do not hesitate to ask questions, because these are exactly the kind of discussions that we have in order to offer immediate help and immediate answers, and also to debate a little bit around this topic, this super fascinating topic of AI, where everyone has got an opinion and everyone, of course, has a lot to share. I see even more places here. We've got Texas, we have more Paris, Princeton. Welcome to all of you. So it's a pleasure for me today to invite the guests, again, Jürgen Müller and Al Bismayer from Via Medici, and we will see them in a second. Hello, Al. Hello, Jürgen. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Theo?
I'm doing great. Absolutely great. Now, you've been with us already several times, not only at the marathon, but also as part of these LinkedIn discussions. However, there might be someone in the audience that doesn't know you yet. So tell us something about yourself. Let's start with you, Jürgen.
Hi, Pio. So, my name is Jürgen Müller. I'm co-founder and CEO of Via Medici. I've actually a long track record in management consulting with a more technical background, so engineering, and I was always in the field of how to improve processes by using information systems. So this was always kind of the core topic everything was about. And then at some point in time, we started with Via Medici, which is then, of course, about master data management, product information management, all those topics, which is a theme that is quite demanding, also regarding technology. So you're always a little bit on the edge of what is technically possible and try to implement this. And this is something that simply fascinates me. And so AI, machine learning, deep learning, all that stuff is, of course, also part of this story, and also fascinating new technology that is ready to apply. Yeah.
Absolutely. Al?
Hi, Theo. I'm a vice president of Via Medici, and I've been, like Jurgen, working with customers in emerging technologies for over 30 years, working in the data management, MDM space, and product information management space quite a bit, and helping companies attack how they can be more productive with technology, using it as a tool with people and processes to actually get competitive advantage in the marketplace. So that's something that I really get excited about in working with our customers.
Fantastic. So let's start from the topic of the day. The last time we talked about AI is not a silver bullet. So I want to ask you, what is the status of AI today? What's your point of view?
AI is exploding, actually. Since we talked, I've had the luxury of going to several leading analyst conferences and listening to analysts and predictions and things that they're talking about. And they're talking about tons of futuristic things that are extremely exciting. You know, doing away with websites, being able to have information at your fingertips, just speaking or requesting it. McKinsey came out with an excellent report, which I actually put in the chat that you can actually share with people. It was a few days ago. And it actually talks about the economic impact of AI and what they see. It's a $2.6 to $4.4 trillion impact that they're expecting. And fortunately for us, one of the things that they call out on is the fact that if you look at the areas of impact from an AI perspective, there are four major areas that will be impacted. One is customer operations, one is sales and marketing, one is engineering, and one is research and development. And so 75% of that, $4.4 trillion number is going to be in one of those areas. And they looked at, the cost savings in sales and marketing. And in marketing, they're looking at a 10% savings, and sales a 4% savings, which actually is going to translate to $453 billion versus $469 billion, respectively. Yeah. So we're in the right spot. There's no question that AI and ML are going to be used in sales and marketing, and product information management and master data management systems are key there. But then it becomes a practical application, which is what we're here to talk about.
Absolutely. And I remember last time that we spoke, Jürgen, you made a point about how the customers of today prefer actually not to be contacted by a salesperson directly, but to deal with an automated system. So I think in this scenario, AI really fits well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just some kind of change in behavior that happened through COVID, when it was simply not possible anymore that a sales rep could visit a customer or any other direct activity. And so there also in B2B, it was simply required that you provide self-service portals, guided selling applications, things like that. And they have an advantage. And the advantage is simply that you see all the implications immediately, that you can just play around yourself, try out different options, and then see what happens, how it fits, how it resonates, what was the result on the price, and so on. And then you get a much better overview. And so it seems that people prefer this. And this, of course, is absolutely a field where artificial intelligence can provide a significant benefit and really help a lot for customer experience and everything. Absolutely. Yeah. That's
okay.
Right.
Absolutely interesting. And yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely a change that came into effect over the last few years. Just seeing that there is another way, let's say, of servicing customers. So let's start getting into the topic of the day. It's about moving from the hype to value. So let's talk about the areas of application that you see as most immediate today and the most promising.
Yeah. So of course, it's generally very wide field where you can apply artificial intelligence. At the moment, especially when it's about data, then it's more or less two areas where it is used. One is augmented information, so just creating additional information, like text, like translations, all the other stuff. So really augmenting. And the other area is quality. So completing your data, detecting errors, improving it, things like that, pattern recognition, all these things. So improve data quality, make it more complete, and augment it. These are the two main areas where we see the practical application today. You also receive more or less immediate benefit. So it simply absolutely makes sense to do it. And beside this, of course, you also have, as Al mentioned before, you also have completely different business activities like in engineering, product development, and other areas where you also benefit from applying AI. So that's, of course, it's a very wide field. Yeah.
Okay, very good. We have a first question here, actually, from Matthew. What's the difference between having an augmented bot tell you the features and prices of a product versus reading a one-page sheet? What is the value added after the higher cost?
Yeah, the value is simply that you can. It's not actually. It would be not a good solution if it is only the difference between reading a one-page sheet or asking a question to an AI application. So it is significant additional value if you can ask a precise question. Like, for example, I want to use this in that environment, and so on and so on. What fits my needs, and so on. So this means you will do a little bit more research. If you do it in a conventional way, read a bit more pages, and then it's also a lot about what we have today. Just really simple example with a website. What we have today, if somebody designs a website, they actually try to think about what information might people look for, how are they probably going to look for it, and how do I need to structure the information that they find it. So we try to make some assumptions what people want and how they want it, and get it prepared. But of course, you do not know everything. So especially if it's lots of options, somebody comes from here, somebody from here, somebody completely from a different angle, and wants to know something very specific, and you cannot prepare everything. So that makes it difficult. But with a good AI application, especially if it's also connected with machine learning, deep learning capabilities, so that it's improving over time and with more data, then you do not need to do all these kind of pre-structuring anymore. And you cover, maybe 95% of the possible context situations, and simply provide an exact answer to your question. Like, maybe, what battery pack can I use for this driller when I want to use it outside at -10 degrees? So maybe some are possible, some are not possible. This is a more precise question.
Got it. And a more customized answer.
Much more customized, and it allows you to combine and ask everything, and then you get the result that you want, and you do not depend on whether the person who has prepared the information in advance has structured it in a way that you will find what you're looking for. So that is a big difference. So if you do it the old-fashioned way, you also find it, but only if those who make it available we're thinking about structuring it in the right way, so you have a chance to do it. If not, you don't find it. So that is more or less a big difference, and then it still costs a lot of time.
I think one thing that's interesting is that, ChatGPT came around in November, it was launched, and people were like, oh my goodness, and it captured everyone's imagination. They could write things, they could auto-generate content, they could make it available, that type of thing. But AI and ML has been around for quite some time, and we've deployed it with our customers on classification, categorization, image management, getting things to market quicker, actually doing, an assessment for data quality to make find faults and challenges that are there. And one of the things that I think is also interesting is when you talk to folks about AI, they're thinking about the cost savings that are associated with it in terms of minimizing personnel or eyeballs on something to do data quality or to do categorization or these types of things. But what I really see the value of AI moving forward is actually as a productivity tool. So the people that are able to actually train the technology and utilize it are the ones that are going to be able to gain a competitive advantage, in many respects leapfrog other folks. And as I mentioned in our last talk, I mean, you still have to do work to get AI to work. You have to, if Jurgen calls a product Y and I call it A, AI is not going to know A and Y until I tell it, hey, these two things are the same thing. And then once I tell it and train it, then it can actually go out and interrogate data, and you can actually gain gains because you don't have to go in and match and merge and survive. You can actually interrogate the data using A and Y, knowing that it's a synonym or it's the same product set, and gain big advantages from that perspective. It'll help you time to market. It'll help you in terms of what you're doing operationally. So there's huge benefits on technologies that have been around for a while, and then also leveraging the things that are emerging and coming out. And same thing with content. I mean, we definitely see people working with, and we've integrated into our solution where ChatGPT, they're doing content management and for product information and that type of thing. But there's a lot of other areas where, nuts and bolts, where you get big savings and a quick time to market in terms of the solution set based on existing technology. So I think people need to look at what's practical and kind of pilot things and say, okay, this is where we can get a benefit, and then go and deploy it from that perspective.
Yeah. No, and I think you raise a very good point here about not just looking at where can we cut, and instead trying to understand what are the things that instead are not just about cost saving, but about propelling the company forward. And by the way, thanks Matthew for the question, because yes, if you use AI for the sake of using the AI, but it doesn't provide any added value, it's it's the bad route of AI. Personally, I wouldn't want, because it doesn't add any value, and it's something that a human can do better if it doesn't provide any added value again. Let's get to use cases, because we've spoke about some clients that you have that have tested things. They got great results. So tell me more.
Yeah. So again, also on the use cases, it's actually really the simple applications that most companies apply. So like, for example, very common, and also just now put live for one of our Swiss customers, AI-based automatic translation. So this is almost a no-brainer. Of course, it is no 100% quality, that's clear. Depending on from what language you translate to what language, the quality also is a bit different, but you can combine it with quality approval processes and all that stuff. But this definitively helps you to save a lot of money. It is reducing time to market in different languages. And again, what we experience today is actually that most of our customers are not doing it just in order to cut costs. They're doing it to maybe, instead of communicating and marketing their products maybe so far in 4 or 5 languages, now do it maybe in 20, 30 languages. So really native to all the markets they want to address, which is of course a big benefit. And they can do it now because it's not so much effort anymore. So this is a very simple application of AI, which you can integrate with almost any application. So with PIM MDM, also very common. You can just kind of activate that service, and then it's there. You have your own kind of instance. So you can also improve it. You can train it. You can create your own glossary and things like that is using your language. So there are a lot of options, And this is, I would say, really low, very low entry barrier, no big project or anything like that, and really a lot of value and a lot of benefit immediately. And everybody's anyway using it when you privately use it and just translate something. So this is very common. Another application which we also very often see is the natural language generation. So also something which is now a lot in the media overall, and probably most people, again, privately use it already, because also here it really can help quite a bit with lots of things. But also in business terms, this is also kind of a no-brainer in order to do it really good. So it gets you more benefit if you already have good quality and very well structured data available in order to do briefing and things like that. So and also to train it. But this helps you. So common applications we have with our customers, especially in the consumer good area, is creating marketing texts, creating product launch texts for the different channels like LinkedIn, like Twitter, maybe for their own website. So specific text for the specific channels. And then, of course, again, it's more about do this more professional, like do it for all channels. Do it specific for all the different channels. Optimize it for the different channels. Do it specific for the different countries, your different markets, your different target groups and audiences. Address them individually through all those channels. So things that are really a lot of work if you do it manually, and now you can just set it up the right way. And again, this is low entry barrier, so easy to activate, and you have immediate benefit. Also, something that is really growing a lot at the moment, and I'm pretty sure that maybe 1 year from now or so, most companies, at least in some areas, will use natural language generation to improve their processes and be better in that area. So this is also kind of a no-brainer. What we also have is image recognition. Again, something. So it's more or less what actually most of you are used from also your private life. This now just applied to business processes. This is the most common things. So image recognition, again, there are great engines around, very high quality, very good results. And it's if you have to deal with lots of images, photographs, whatsoever, then what you can do is you can automatically create keywords and things like that. You can categorize them automatically. You can do also image improving, cropping, and other stuff. And so there are again lots of options. Today this is manual work, or it has been manual work, and again it's very low entry level, very easy to apply, and this is actually what I definitively recommend to do first. Go for these kind of low hanging fruits. They already provide a lot of benefit, and it is also a learning process. So you need to get a feeling on how these AI engines work, on what they produce, and how you can adjust it. And these are areas that are easy to imagine, easy to understand. So also in this regard, this helps a lot. Yeah.
I can see questions are coming up. I have questions myself, actually, and actually a remark about what you said, because you mentioned there the importance of data management, MDM, these things that need to be set right from the beginning. Otherwise, there's only, AI can bring you only so far. And it's very important to emphasize that as new technologies come and there is a lot of hype around them, it's still very important to address the foundations, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a lot of hype around AI, and it's as I was saying. So it does help you to do the work, definitively. And here it provides great benefit, but you need to know how to apply it. In some cases, you actually also need some preparation, like for example, when using on a large scale a natural language generation engine in order to create marketing text and so on, then you need to provide briefing like, this is my product, this is the key features, this is the value proposition, this is how I want to position it, and then you get a good result. Without that, you don't get results. So in order to do this briefing on large scale automatically, you need the data already available. So you need to do some homework upfront, of course. But still, I think the benefits are significant. It's not the big revolution that everything is completely changing, but somehow it is the beginning of a revolution. I would really say it's a little bit like maybe with industrialization, where you had lots of activities done manually, and then this was step by step, but not immediately, not from one day to the next, replaced by machines. But of course, it was in higher demanding tasks that were required. Like somebody had to program those machines later on and all that stuff, build them and so on. And here it's similar. So some routine brain work, like for example, writing routine marketing text for different purposes can be automated. Routine work like categorizing images, pictures can be automated. Translation can be automated. So this is kind of routine work, but this is just the beginning. And the speed we see here, this is significant. So at the moment, we also, most of the applications are narrow AI. So really narrow, so specialized on one thing. We're still not in the general AI area where you have more complex situations. So there's a lot of room, but I think it is the beginning of a kind of revolution, and it is absolutely necessary that enterprises go into this and start using it where it makes sense. But again, not just without a reason. So really looking carefully, where does it improve processes, where does it help, and then apply it in the right way.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Now there is a ton of questions. And by the way, in the audience, I'm going to read all of your questions. So even if it takes a little longer, we're going to go through all of them because that's exactly the goal of having a conversation like this. So there is a comment from Mateus about AI, whether AI would be a powerful tool for scientific analysis, databases, image analysis to assess and see more than we're seeing mainly in the healthcare field. What do you think?
Yeah, he's right. This is absolutely true. This is a super powerful tool in healthcare, and we definitely improve the whole healthcare world a lot. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's an exciting field for me.
Yeah. But again, I just AI combined with machine learning or deep learning. This, yes, but because with increasing data, this is simply producing more quality results, and it will definitively provide better results than if it's just done the conventional way. Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I would say on all these things with AI, and actually I saw it earlier in a comment before, is, because there is so much hype behind AI, everyone, doing AI for AI's sake type of thing. And I think it's very important to actually assess the ROI and the return on investment and what you're doing with this tool, because AI is ultimately a tool that you're utilizing for a benefit. And I just read an article yesterday that was talking about a bake-off with companies that were doing AI, and it is kind of applying to this in some respects because they had developed an engineering algorithm, and they saw that it was very efficient, but then they went back and they determined it was cost preclusive to actually implement it, and they decided not to do it because the effort to get the folks to use it effectively was not there within the organization. So with a lot of this stuff, I think it's very important to, as Jürgen said, to kind of look at the low-hanging fruit, figure out, which projects make sense, actually pilot the project, and validate that it is having an effect on your organization before you roll it out in mass. And then once you get experience with the tools and how to kind of do things, then you can expand it to other areas. So it's just a general, it's pretty practical, but that's what I see it would be effective within an organization.
Yeah, but this question again, also especially related to healthcare, this also shows another problem we have to deal with, and this so most benefit would be provided if all the data on all health issues and everything, all patient data is available for analysis. Then it would be most beneficial. But here we also have some other issues, like data protection, privacy, and all these things that need to be resolved in the coming years.
Yeah. Now, there is a comment about prompt engineers, this new role that is being discussed about, and there's more than one. So we're going to go first through the first one. So yeah, the prompt engineer seems like a critical role for organizations to unlock value from generative AI. Can you describe what are the skills and capabilities required? What do you personally think about this role in general? Will it become a trending, essential roles for organizations? What's your take on it?
Yes. Yeah, it will become essential. It also becomes essential because you simply have to over time have some specialists in your organization who really spend a lot of time with this technology, have a lot of practical experience, know how to apply it, and so on. So this is definitively a future role, which is needed in every company. And also, yeah, sometimes it just at the beginning, maybe somebody will take it as a kind of 50% of his work or something like this. This is what we see most often, that it's not like at the moment, that companies are not that often hiring a prompt engineer, a kind of full-featured, fully educated prompt engineer. So it's more in the beginning that somebody who is dealing a lot with this technology then commits a certain percentage of his time to create also prompts and so on, and then more and more, and then full time and so on. So this is a role that is emerging at the moment, but it's definitively very important. I would say what is needed is simply you need to have very good analytical skills. This is absolutely key. You need to have some technical skills also, not necessarily in programmer level, but a good understanding of the technology definitively helps. Depending on the area of application, I'm actually pretty sure that this might later on, when we see AI becoming more and more being used in enterprises for lots of different purposes, that this might again be a bit more specialized on different areas of application. So here, then you probably also, it will also help if you also have some knowledge on the specific area. So if you're, for example, in the marketing part, then you should also have some marketing skills. If you're more in maybe focusing on healthcare stuff, then it also helps if you have some knowledge there. So it also makes it easier to understand requirements when you talk to your colleagues and all the other things. Yeah, but analytical skills is my opinion. This is key. This is most important.
I would agree with that. I think that for me, your understanding of the business is very key for a prompt engineer. basically one of that, everyone's talking about the knowledge drain and people that are leaving. And so really you need somebody leaning over your shoulder who can say, hey, these are the questions that to ask and the data you need to interrogate to utilize the tool to get the benefit. So it's not just about, the technology or prompting the questions. It's actually knowing the questions and knowing, where to get the details of the data to actually extract it and utilize it effectively. So you can't just take someone that's green out of school and say, hey, go take this thing and start getting some answers for me. You need somebody who understands the business, and whether it's healthcare or manufacturing or whatever vertical they're in, they need to, and also the departments. How am I going to take this data and utilize it for the specific business application that I'm applying it to?
Yeah. There's another comment here from Matthew, and discussing exactly about prompt engineering as being an odd specialty, and yeah, it's like being very good at using Google. I can see that, and I think partly you have also addressed it like that. It can't be just about looking for information. There needs to be other skills that the prompt engineer has, or that the people, for instance, if we're speaking about marketing or copywriting, I think that there should still, it is necessary to have a person that supervises at the top and that maintains that from the top there is still an input, an output in terms of creativity and so on. And AI is there, and prompt engineers are there to help. Because yes, if it's about, at least this is my perspective, it is just about looking for things without having an understanding, that it doesn't really go further than that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. So actually, Matthew is quite right with what he's saying. So it is a little bit. It's of course something different, but it is a little bit like somebody who is extremely good in using Google and finding something by using Google. So it is something like this. It is somebody who is extremely good in using AI engines and kind of training it and addressing them in a way that it gets the best results. So it is very similar, and it's also right that you can not 100% rely that an answer is provided is accurate. You cannot 100% rely on that, and this is also an issue, especially if it's in an area where it is absolutely important that you know if an answer is 100% right or not, how to handle it. So there again are of course different options. So an AI, is a huge knowledge base behind, maybe also directly connected to internet and really current information, and is using this and combining it. So it could be possible for a specific application that maybe together with the result, if you ask a very precise question, that you also get kind of maybe a probability. So that's also not 100% reliable, but it might say you if there is some conflicting information around or not, things like that. So I've already seen this from some companies who develop those applications, who try to handle it in that way. But this is definitely an issue. The AI might also provide wrong results. So this is why you typically have this training feature where it can then thumbs up, thumbs down, once you figured out whether it's good or not good.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, there's more questions coming actually. And okay, here it is. While we do see benefits in productivity, what would be a good KPI to measure adding generative AI? Not sure if organizations know how to inject the Gen AI in their data management processes and additional investments required. So what do you think?
Yeah, it of course, I would say it's again, the KPI is something you need in order to measure the process you want to improve. So one typical process that is going to improve by generative AI is, for example, time to market for new products in certain channels. And then you measure what do you have today and how can you improve it. And then you have a KPI. and maybe you want to go for a 50% improvement, and you see how far you get. Maybe also upfront do some analysis and determine, okay, where do you lose time? So if today maybe you have 3 months, that's a lot. You want to get down to 6 weeks. So where gets this time eaten away? So what is it? Is it the translation process? Is it creating all the marketing collateral process? Is it some other launch and communication process, or maybe something completely different which you cannot fix with AI because you have other problems? So I would definitely recommend also to do this analysis before, and then here's a good KPI and also a quite common KPI. So this is also used in practice, is time to market.
Very good. What is your? I don't know if you have a specific case that you've where you have seen time to market being reduced, but what was the reduction like? 50%, as you said, even more than that? What was if you have such use case?
Yeah, so in the consumer good area with large portfolios and lots of channels, it can easily be around 70%. Yeah, so that's really a lot. If you're international, lots of markets, lots of channels, lots of products, lots of parallel launches, you can easily get to 70% and more.
Yeah, that is indeed a number that shows that some sort of revolution in this field is happening. Because it's indeed a big 70%. I didn't expect that. It's
Yeah,
very impressive.
yeah. I might add a little bit a but. It's yeah. So one variable is of course also the quality. You reach a higher percentage if you accept, but it's not really that it's poor quality. But you achieve a higher percentage if you would accept a little lower quality. If you want to go for higher quality, this costs significantly more time. So then you lose quite something again. So at the moment, it is still a little bit at the price of the quality. So and you notice it, especially for example, again when I come back to the translation. Of course, if you go for full auto translation and have no additional quality, but auto translation is much better than what you are used if you use just for private purposes DeepL account, because you do have a glossary and you do have all that stuff. So it is much better. But if you just accept it as it is, it's immediately there. If you have a quality approval process afterwards, that might again eat away some days. And you see it especially again in consumer good that more and more companies tend to go for speed first and really get things out as fast as possible.
Yeah, but I'll actually piggyback on that, because what Jürgen's talking about is the speed and the cost and the consolidation. Yeah. The big benefit is actually first to market, because as you know, when you get into the market first,
exactly,
you get huge returns
yes,
for ongoing business. So that's the productivity side of the equation and the benefit for the business outside of just the time.
Yeah, very good. Now, there's several questions also that we're addressing. You know, every time there is something that is so hyped, there are some risks that come with that. So there were questions regarding what are these risks? How can we embrace, let's say, AI in a manner that where we limit the risks and so on. So it is obvious. These are things that come with almost everything that is particularly new and advanced. So how do you think we can prevent, limit, handle the risks that AI can pose us?
So my general sense is that the best thing is to just be practical about it. You know, we've listed out several different areas that are low-hanging fruit. There are things that organizations can do immediately. They're tested. They've been around for a while, yeah. And they add significant benefit to the organizations in terms of time to market and efficiency, data quality, and you know, those types of things. And so that's the first thing. Pick something that's proven. Okay. The second thing is, you know, right size it like you do any project. You know, do a POC, go in and get your arms around it and on the specific area. and test it and see what the returns are and see if it's what your expectations are, and then expand upon it. So, kind of a conservative approach to utilization. I think the big risk for organizations is that there's so much hype and so much energy around AI right now that people are running around saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this project or that project," and they're going to approach a big bang approach, and they're not going to get the returns that they expected. Once again, saying it is a silver bullet, and ultimately, they're going to be holding the bag on something that's not, producing a benefit to their organization. So I think a conservative approach, utilizing the tool in areas where it's proven, getting a company like ourselves who's been there, done that, and understands how to apply and address these various things is key. So get with somebody who has a knowledge base of utilizing these tools and working with them is another key factor from a coaching perspective. And then obviously the selection of the technology sets that you're going to utilize. So you want to have good people, good tools, and good processes, and that's whether it's AI or any type of technology implementation you're going to be utilizing. Jürgen?
Yeah. So I would say, so the applications we mentioned so far, so more business-related things, this is very low risk. This is very specific. This is low risk. But definitively, AI, machine learning, etc., is a dangerous technology when it's applied to a wider, more general field. Like, just imagine if at some point in time your main source for information might be something like OpenAI, ChatGPT, or something like that, and maybe for many. Or if at some point in time, and we probably get there, 80-90% of the information you find on the internet is created by natural language generation engines. Or at some point in time, and it already happens, so there are already the first newspapers that start doing it this way, so new ones. If all the media today, lots of the papers are created by artificial intelligence and so on. So this is, of course, in direction everything is moving to. So and this definitively has significant potential, also to the negative side, because it's possible to manipulate everything. It's possible to create some kind of bias. It is, and also if you do not do it intentionally, it can also just happen first because there are some problems with the general knowledge base everything is based upon. This might be simply a little bit biased or not complete or lacking some stuff. It might also be based on algorithms and the technology itself that might have some bugs, and it also might be just intentional that everything is moved in a certain direction, and this might have a significant impact on society. And I think this is a problem the society and politicians around the world have to deal with and found a good way to handle it. And what I also see as a problem is the risk that, so AI, machine learning, needs a lot of computing power to be good. A lot of computing power, especially if from today's narrow AI, we get more to the general AI. Like today, you can enter text and you get text. This is narrow. But if you enter text and the camera sees your face, and if you're a good mood, bad mood, and all that stuff, so also emotions, and considers lots of other things, that's a bit more wider field. So, but already narrow AI requires a lot of computing power. And the more computing power you have, and the more resources you have for training it, the better it is. So in the end, for the very generic things, like, for example, natural language generation, or maybe even auto translation, it is also a race about who has most power. Of course, you can also have a smart approach. This smart approach might help you a bit, but in the end, you still need a lot of power. And so there's some risk, which I see, that it's some very large enterprises who kind of control this. And but again, I personally, this is potential risk that there are monopolies being created. In practice, of course, I'm pretty sure this will be dealt with, like it was in many other areas as well. You know, today everybody is dependent on electricity, but it is not the electricity companies who dictate everything. They don't. They just produce electricity. And you do get AI technology and engines also on open source in very good quality. You get the kind of the knowledge base trained is available. You can use it as a service. So it just requires the right business model. It just requires some legal framework to handle it. And yeah, people need to be aware of it. And also politicians must understand what this technology is about, what are the risks, because we still want to, so everybody wants to live in an open society where you have free speech, your opinion, you see a whole variety of things. And yeah, so this just requires some general framework to get it the right way. And this is not there yet. And this is why it's also some panic in some areas where people say, oh, we should not do this, this is too dangerous, and so on. But it's just because we don't have this framework yet. But I'm pretty sure that this will be created over time, maybe some bugs in the beginning, then improved, but this can be handled.
Oh, that's a very good perspective. And I think if we talk about this side of things, we can easily speak for 5 hours. It's a very big field, and one of the reasons why I like to have you both in these discussions is that you know, it's not the kind of a fanboy approach to AI. Instead, you're perfectly there talking about low risk but extremely effective applications while being absolutely aware of where it can go wrong, while still keeping an open, a positive view of where it is going. So it's really great. It's exactly a conversation that is going where it should go when it comes to AI. And there is a last question, because we're at 52 minutes from this for this conversation. There is a comment from Matthew. As LLM hype starts to die down, as all AI technology seem to do, where do you see the overall field heading next? What's next in the AI hype pipeline?
So first, I would actually say what the hype we see now is dying down. Yes, he's right. But the first thing what we see is this is a hype because people are kind of experimenting with the technology. What we do not see yet is, I would say, 95% of the future application of exactly this technology. We don't see it. This will just appear in the coming years. So you will simply see this technology being used in lots of different areas, and this is becoming absolutely normal. Absolutely normal. So regarding application, you only see maybe 5%, but everybody can already somehow recognize the potential, and this is why we have this hype, and this hype will cool down because you get used to it. But it does not mean that applying it will also go down. This will significantly increase, but it becomes normal, and to lots of different fields. This is where I'm 100% sure about. And yeah, then the next thing is what you can already see at the moment is similar. So again, generative AI. I think generative AI is at the moment regarding what has most impact and is most visible. Than it is at the moment simply the generic AI. Also, analytical stuff might also have a very significant or even more impact on different things, but it's not so visible. It's more in the background. Generative AI is more visible. So regarding image generation, illustrations, graphics, based on descriptions and so on. This is another very powerful technology. So from just generating an image is not so far to generating a short video. And for me, it's not so far to go towards a movie and things like that. So there's a lot of potential. So all this is worked on currently. Several companies are planning to launch those technologies in the next months. Some is already available in beta version, also directly available. I think this will be the next thing. Then you can combine both. So this is what I personally see, that it will be more on the generative side at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. I'll be very brief, but what I think is, and I agree with you, Matthew, the hype is dying down, but I think what's actually going to happen in the future is it's going to be the application of AI to specific processes. So you're going to, because people, it's actually, this whole hype thing has actually got people thinking about processes and applications and how you can utilize AI to have an effect. How do I do something that's game changing, essentially? And so while the overall hype of AI is going to die down, I think you're going to see specific applications where it's like, man, this was done, and it was done as a result of utilizing AI and approaching things in a new way. So, which allows you to essentially have a game-changing effect on an industry because of the utilization of the tool. So I think it's not going to be overall AI. It's going to be AI as applied to healthcare, or AI as applied to technology, or high tech, or AI as it is applied to banking, or different verticals and industries are going to utilize it for different applications, and they're going to get significant benefits as a result of it.
Yeah. Well, what a topic, isn't it?
It's a great topic. Listen, Pio, I put in the McKinsey link. I did it in the private chat, but I want to, if anyone wants to, you can share that publicly. It's a great read. It's 70 pages long, but it's fascinating. So I'll give you that as a gift to peel through if anybody's interested in that. I thought it was
Very
really good.
That's very good, very good. And it was a great discussion. Personally, I remember we spoke, what was it, like 10 months ago, Jürgen, and you mentioned that where you see, let's say, the good side of technology going is where it provides sort of a springboard for other things like innovation, creativity, and so on, right? So technology helps in all the things that are at the base level, and then, let's say, sort of excellence rises thanks to it. And I really hope that that's where we're going, because I definitely see the topics that we talked about today, the time to market. That's a fantastic application, and I agree that many of the applications that you talked about are low risk, and I think that's where we need to start and how we need to stay a bit until things get figured out. But I hope that all of this evolves in a direction where excellence, creativity continue to flourish, and artificial intelligence is there to help us being more productive and let us save a lot of time doing things that are repetitive.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And there are definitively also some areas where this technology is actually becoming a game changer. Like, for example, our industry, the software industry. But we do not need to explore this in more detail now. But this has a significant impact on how software is being developed and designed and all that stuff.
Very good. Actually, how can, if people want to talk about AI or in general about Via Medici, how can they find out more? How to connect with you?
Well, they can come to viamedici.com, and we have links to all types of information, and they can get access to data on a self-service basis, or if they want to get direct information, they can contact Jürgen or myself, and we're happy to follow up and get on it quickly. So
fantastic. I want to thank everyone who commented today, everyone who watched. It was great to have you today, Mateus, Matthew, Jennifer, and so many more. They really made this conversation interesting, and I think we should speak about it more often with you two about these topics, because there is really an incredible interest, and there is a lot more through debate that we can learn about how AI can benefit organizations and human beings in general.
Yeah, happy to do so, Pio. Yeah.
Thank you, Pio. Have a great one.
Thanks.
Have a
Thank you
fantastic
all for
day,
attending.
gentlemen,
Great.
and have a fantastic continuation of your day to all the audience. It was a pleasure to have you with us today.